Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show Podcast, Hour 3.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. Delighted to be with you. The phone number, 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program. Thanks again to J.D. Vance. Those of you who are subscribers to the email and you get the show notes email, you will get that interview here in just a little bit. If you missed it, you can text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. If you want to be on the email list, the very first link goes to it. Now, we're going to go down the rabbit hole here a little bit because this is kind of bizarre. It was Gertrude Himmelfarb, I believe, who said that we are reaching the age where deviancy is considered normal and normal is considered deviant. There was the Chesterton quote. Let me see if I can find it. That was used by the new Italian prime minister that their swords will be drawn in defense of the trees being green in the summer. It is this quote, and I think it's very good. And this is our starting point here. Truths turn into dogmas the instant they are disputed. Thus, every man who utters a doubt defines a religion. And the skepticism of our time does not really destroy the beliefs, rather it creates them, gives them their limits and their plain and defiant shape. We who are liberals once held liberalism lightly as a truism. Now it has been disputed and we hold it fiercely as a faith. We who believe in patriotism once thought patriotism to be reasonable and thought little more about it. Now we know it to be unreasonable and know it to be right. We who are Christians never knew the great philosophic common sense which inheres in the mystery until the anti-Christian writers pointed it out to us. The great march of mental destruction will go on. Everything will be denied. Everything will become a creed. It is a reasonable position to deny the stones in the street. It will be a religious dogma to assert them. It is a rational thesis that we are all in a dream. It will be mystical sanity to say we are all awake. Fires will be kindled to testify that 2 and 2 make 4. Swords will be drawn to prove that leaves are green in summer. We shall be left defending not only the incredible virtues and sanities of human life, but something more incredible still, this huge impossible universe which stares us in the face. We shall fight for visible prodigies as if they were invisible. We shall look on the impossible grass in the skies with a strange courage. We shall be of those who have seen and yet have believed. Now, what's he talking about there? This isn't his piece on heretics. He's foreseeing the postmodern world. We are in the postmodern world. One of the problems of postmodernity is that truth becomes subjective, not objective. The exceptions become the rule. Everyone wants their truth, not the truth. And this is why I emphasize time and time again, relationships matter in ways you may not realize. Because in postmodernity, it's not enough for the truth teller in the town square to tell the truth. If the truth teller in the town square does not have a relationship with those who hear him, he will not be believed. It's one of the reasons, and if there are radio people listening, I want you, if you're in radio, if you're one of my employers, if you're at another radio company, I want you to listen to me for just a moment, please. There are a lot of people in radio who believe radio is dying. People are tuning to podcasts. They're consuming the radio in other forms. That may be. I know the number of people who listen to me on my live stream. I know the people who listen on my podcast. But radio itself, talk radio like this, I don't think it's going anywhere. Because in an age of growing postmodern isolation, the voice is the most intimate connection one can have with another human being besides touch. You who listen to me, you can tell when I've had a bad day. You can tell when I'm tired. You can tell when I'm angry. You can tell when I'm passionate. You can tell when I'm just trying to give it to you straight. You can tell by the tone of my voice, by the tenor and tempo of my speech. The medium of voice and radio is the most intimate medium by which communication is had, because it's you, wherever you are, with this voice of someone whose face you more likely than not have imagined, who conveys emotion through the rhythm and tempo and sound of voice. And that's not going anywhere. In a postmodern age, it's craved, it's sought. People want the relationship, and unfortunately, too many people take advantage of it. And in this day and age, in postmodernity, truth becomes something for debate. The exception becomes the rule. I can look to the sky and say, the sky is blue today, and others will fight me and say, it's not truly blue, it's the refraction and the reflection and the cause of the light, and really, that's not it, and that's not so. They can quibble and nitpick and try to undermine the truths of an entire society, and they can have you turn madness into sanity and sanity into madness. And people want the voice of the town square who they have a relationship with to tell them what is so, to tell them what is right, to tell them, yes, in fact, 2 + 2 is still 4, and the leaves are still green in summer. To tell them they're not crazy, to hear the loud voices who say that crazy is normal and normal is crazy, and they want the voice to push back and say, it is not so. I believe as I believed yesterday. My belief has not changed, and the foundation on which I still stand is here, not invisible, not imaginary, not gone, not corroded, not collapsed, not displaced. And when all the loud voices of postmodern society tell you you are insane, you remind yourselves and have that quiet, intimate voice. The conscience in the back of your head, the voice on the radio, the people you read tell you, no, you are still sane. The world is in madness. And I want to play some of that madness for you. This is Roger Englander. He has a medical degree from Yale Medical School. There's a master's in public health from Johns Hopkins. He was in residency at Children's National Medical Center, a fellowship at Harvard Medical School. He's now the associate dean for undergraduate medical education. And then he's at the medical school for the University of Minnesota. And he's making these medical students swear an oath. And you must listen to this with me. You will not believe it.
With gratitude, we, the students of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Medical School class of 2026, stand here today among our friends, families, peers, mentors, and communities who have supported us in reaching this milestone. Our institution is located on Dakota land. Today, many Indigenous people throughout the state, including Dakota and Ojibwe, call the Twin Cities home. We also recognize this acknowledgement is not enough. We commit to uprooting the legacy and perpetuation of structural violence deeply embedded within the healthcare system. We recognize inequities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, the gender binary, ableism, and all forms of oppression. As we enter this profession with opportunity for growth, we commit to promoting a culture of anti-racism, listening and amplifying voices for positive change. We pledge to honor all indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine. Knowing that health is intimately connected to our environment, we commit to healing our planet and communities. We vow to embrace our role as community members and strive to embody cultural humility. We promise to continue restoring trust in the medical system and fulfilling our responsibilities as educators and advocates. We commit to collaborating with social, political, and additional systems to advance health equity. We will learn from the scientific innovations made before us and pledge to advance and share this knowledge with peers and neighbors. We recognize the importance of being in community with and advocating for those we serve.
Do you get that? They pledge, these are the incoming students. They will graduate in 2026. They will be taught medicine in a place that teaches them to honor all indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine, and to fight white supremacy, colonialism, and even the gender binary. And when they head into medical classes, will they not be told there are male and female anatomy? Or will they be given the anatomy of the Z and the Zer? No, they'll be given the anatomy of the he and the her. And how will they learn? We live in an age where madness is thought of as sanity. We live in an age of renewed paganism, where these doctors will give superficial lip service to the ways of the shaman, who through smoke and ritual chant would seek to cure. And they won't learn that in school, but over time, keep it going enough, and others will embrace it and say, why not? My daughter was telling me of a young man on social media now who was lamenting having to go get his polio vaccine and his MMR, that his father was deeply opposed to vaccines, life-saving vaccines. And a woman in his comments on social media told him, well, his father was a wise man. And the young man said, actually, my father is dead because he tried to use magic crystals to cure his cancer instead of the chemotherapy. I was in the mall the other day. There's a Williams-Sonoma. It's a large Williams-Sonoma store that's now closed, and it's been renovated. And it is now the largest store for metaphysical crystals in the Southeast United States. That's right. You can go in and find the crystals to give you energy. You can find the crystals to heal. You can find the crystals to help you focus. You can find the crystals to give you peace. You can find the crystals to give you calm. None of this is scientific, and the people who go in there are the people who probably plant the signs in their yards and say, we believe in science. They're the people who say the science says. It's not the science saying, it's the shamans and the pagans who say. It's the postmodern people who say not what the truth is, but what they wish their truth to be. It's the people who say 2 + 2 = 4 is systemic racism and proof thereof. It's the people who argue the leaves on the trees in the summer are not green. And this is what you must be prepared for. You who do believe in the real truth. You must be prepared. The day is rapidly approaching where you will be seen as the insane. And the insanity will be seen as normal. Archbishop Chaput of Philadelphia once said, evil preaches tolerance until it is dominant, and then it seeks to silence good. And you will see that too. And you must be prepared to speak the truth. But you must be prepared to speak the truth lovingly, because we are in a postmodern age. And you being a brain biblical donkey is just going to alienate people and drive them away from your side to the other. You must be willing to do it relationally. You must be willing to do it to your neighbor. You must be willing to do it not on a national stage where you don't know the people, but to your next door neighbor and call them back to the truth. Madness is sweeping Western medicine and society, and you who are the doctor who do not believe in it, you will be saving the lives destroyed by the doctors who believe in the shaman's practice. Are you prepared for the fight? I'll be here with you. The fight's coming. To your local medical school that has sought to swear an oath to honor all indigenous ways of healing, historically marginalized by Western medicine, and to fight white supremacy, colonialism, and even the gender binary. Something that is true in nature, true in biology, will now be subverted to something that is not true. And they will teach your children. And they will try to corrupt them. And you'll have to stand firm in the face of this. Here is a doctor who has made his students swear an oath that the shamanism of the East and of the ancients is as valid as the X-ray and the pill you take to cure your disease. Society will not survive the insanity unless you are willing to stand up and make sure everybody knows 2 and 2 is still 4, and the leaves on the trees in summer are still green. Let's pause and just talk about what's going on in the country for a moment. We got sky-high inflation. We got runaway government spending. Trust in Washington is completely eroded. When government is this dysfunctional, you got to change the course of the country. You know you have to. That's why I'm excited about the work Americans for Prosperity is doing. They're focused on policy solutions that actually improve people's lives, unlike so many in D.C. who just want to play political football and have power. Americans for Prosperity doesn't just come up with solutions. They act on those solutions. They have the largest network of community activists in the country. They are out there every day talking to millions of their fellow Americans. If you're interested in seeing how you can get started with Americans for Prosperity in your community, visit americansforprosperity.org/Eric today. That's americansforprosperity.org/Eric, E-R-I-C-K. Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. Glad to have you with me. The phone number 877-973-7425. I want to go back to the phones here. Bill, you're going to be up next. Welcome. How are you?
I am well. How are you, Eric?
Great.
Pardon me, I have a little throat in my mouth. I'm not sure if it's because I heard that commencement speech there, or if it's because it may be morning sickness. I could be pregnant. Anyway, the question. Stacey Abrams appears to be the prototype for the Democratic Party to run for president. So they have picked her as their fair-haired child. They were going to run her for governor, get 1 or 2 terms as governor, and then run her for president. She got defeated the first time. She's going to be handily defeated. And if she gets defeated by by double digits, is this going to make her a flawed candidate and non-winnable, and are they going to give up on her, do you think?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Bill, the Politico in Washington has already floated a story that, Stacey Abrams may not be the 2024 contender. It might just be Raphael Warnock for president in 2024. Seriously. I know.
Serious?
Yes, I am absolutely serious. The Politico ran that story that Warnock could be a 2024 contender for president, that everybody's leaving Stacey Abrams behind. And I've got to say this, for those of you not in Georgia, for 4 years now, we've all been subjected to Stacey Abrams on TV, radio, you name it. And her campaign is kind of cratering. If you pay attention to Stacey Abrams on the campaign trail, you know she is losing because her campaign now lacks energy. She herself lacks energy. She seems to have realized that she built an entire machine to get her into office in 2022. You go back to interviews of Stacey Abrams years ago, and she said Georgia would flip in 2022. That would be the time. And she built her entire career. I think 2018 was her trial run. She knew she couldn't get it then, but she would get it in 2022, and she's not. She's seen her life's work go up in smoke. This is what she wanted. She wanted to be governor, and then she wanted to be president of the United States, and it is coming crashing down around her. When the day after the election is over, the Democrats of the state of Georgia will do to her what piranha do in the Amazon River when you try to walk across. You stick that leg in the water, there's a little bit of blood, and your leg's coming off. The Democrats in Georgia are going to be like the piranha. It's going to be amazing to watch. And here comes Raphael Warnock stealing her thunder, and all she can do is scream sexism. All she can scream is misogyny. She can't understand why people are turned off by her. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution doing their best to put a delicious veneer on a poop sandwich. Looks at their latest polling that has Brian Kemp ahead of her by 10 points and says, there's some good news. There's some good news for Abrams here. Voters agree with her on the issues. Do they really agree with her on the issues that matter? And her campaign says, well, we can take those issues and we can build a winning ground game in Georgia for people who want gambling and people who don't like the abortion law in Georgia. Except people like Brian Kemp. They do not like Stacey Abrams, and they like his handling of the state and the economy. And that's going to matter. At the end of the day, it's pocketbook issues for which she has no answer other than doom, gloom, and despair. So winter is coming, and I got to tell you, I love the weight of the Boll and Branch sheets. I like them in the summer when it's hot and you don't want a lot of covers on you, but in the wintertime, they're just the perfect weight, the perfect, smoothness. They're 100% organic cotton threads. They've got super softness. They get softer every time you wash them. They're just, the drape when you're laying down and stuff, they're just perfect sheets. I love them. I am effusive with my praise for Boll and Branch, and I'm delighted to have them as an advertiser. Look, they're made from the highest quality threads. They got superior softness. They got over 25,000 rave customer reviews and counting. I'm one of them. The quality you can tell is great. They hold up well after all the washes I've put them through, and they just get softer. It doesn't matter what the thread count is if the fiber sucks, and you can tell they put a lot of great detail into the fibers they use. And look, Boll and Branch gives you a 30-night risk-free trial with free shipping, returns on all orders. You're going to feel the difference. You're not going to want to send them back. The first 100% organic, fair trade, certified bedding company ever. They used 90% less water than conventional production, zero pesticides, other toxic chemicals. They don't use them. It's just fantastic. Listen, I'm effusive with my praise. I love Boll and Branch. Try them for yourself. And again, you get a 30-night risk-free trial, free shipping, returns on all orders. Try the sheets that will make you fall for the coziest night's sleep in the season where you want cozy sheets. 15% off your first set of sheets. Free shipping when you use promo code ERIC, ERICK, at bollandbranch.com. That's Boll and Branch, BOLLAND branch.com. The promo code is ERIC. Trust me, they're worth it. We've got 5 bedrooms, 5 beds, Boll and Branch sheets on every bed. Hi there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I got a prediction. I think some Republicans in Congress will attempt to impeach Joe Biden if Republicans get control of the House. Forget the Senate. I don't know that it will successfully go through the House. What I suspect is you will see the Republicans impeach Secretary Mayorkas of the Department of Homeland Security. And it'll kind of be hard to avoid it. This is from Bill Malugan at Fox News. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was told that the photographer who captured a clash between Border Patrol agents and Haitian migrants in Del Rio had said the incident was being misconstrued hours before Mayorkas joined a White House press conference where he didn't challenge the false narrative. The September 24th, 2021 email obtained by the Heritage Foundation via a Freedom of Information Act request shines light on the internal deliberations surrounding the controversy in Del Rio, Texas, where Democrats and the White House pushed a narrative that migrants had been whipped or strapped by Border Patrol agents despite it being quickly debunked. In fact, agents were using split reins to control their horses as migrants rushed across the river. But a narrative based on a misinterpretation of photographs was running, and on September 24th was further fueled by President Biden. To people treated like they did, horses barely running over, people being strapped, it's outrageous, Biden told reporters, making a whipping motion with his hands. I promise you those people will pay. There will be an investigation underway now, and there will be consequences. There will be consequences. The investigation is still ongoing more than a year later. The Office of Professional Responsibility in July found no whips were in possession and no migrants were struck, although it did find other alleged infractions. But just hours after Biden made his inflammatory remarks to cameras, Marcia Espinoza, Assistant Secretary of The Department of Homeland Security Public Affairs Office emailed Mayorkas, CC'd other DHS leadership, and alerted them to a news article that showed that the photographer who took the images did not see any whippings. In the email, Espinosa highlighted the comments from the photographer where he directly says he did not witness any whipping. 2.5 hours after receiving the email, Mayorkas joined White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki at a White House press conference where he continued to push the narrative. The White House knew that it wasn't so, or at least should have known it wasn't so, because the Secretary of Homeland Security had been told hours before he went to the White House it was not so. And still they perpetuated this mythology to undermine the Border Patrol agents. In Texas and the border area, in the Rio Grande Valley, a lot of the Hispanic voters there have family who work for the Border Patrol. They're seeing them maligned by Democrats. They're seeing them lied about. They're seeing them punished. They're seeing them repudiated by the President of the United States, and it is not so. They've lied. These voters are turning on the Democrats because of garbage like this. It would not surprise me if Mayorkas is impeached. I've had multiple members of Congress, though, including several from Texas, who have been with Mayorkas at the border, who tell me that Mayorkas is probably a fairly reasonable Secretary of Homeland Security, but his hands are tied by the Biden administration. And they say Mayorkas has told them, like openly said to them behind closed doors, you may want to impeach me, but whoever replaces me will be worse. That's what Mayorkas has told the members of Congress, that they may want to impeach him, but whoever replaces him will be worse. And he's probably right, according to these members of Congress. Mayorkas actually agrees that there's a border problem. The problem for Mayorkas and the Republicans is that Democrats refuse to act on it. The Democrats refuse to fix it. Mayorkas is their fall guy. And I suspect after the election, he and Janet Yellen are going to be fired. The White House will make them the sacrificial lambs. It would not surprise me. It would be funny if they fired Buttigieg too, but they can't fire him now, can they? That would hurt them with their base. The border remains an issue, and the White House doesn't seem to understand it's an issue killing them with Hispanic voters. Back to the phones we go. Mike, you're going to be up next on the Eric Erickson Show. Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Eric. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well, it's regarding this OPEC production cut that's upcoming. First of all, the Democrats are already trying to spin it and threaten Saudi Arabia, and I don't want the Republicans to get sucked into that. This is all Biden's fault. Biden has destroyed our production, not Saudi Arabia. That's a business decision on their part. This is not the first time they've ever cut production. It's been going on for decades. Biden is the cause of this. Tom Cotton mentioned it today. He didn't seem very forceful in explaining it. But people need to understand any issues we have with energy are the fault of Joe Biden 100%, not Saudi Arabia.
Oh, look, I completely agree with you. The Saudis are making a business decision here. It's not to help Republicans. It's not even really to hurt Biden. It's in their business interest to do it. Biden could produce oil in the United States. He could make us energy independent again, and he's chosen not to. He's chosen to put the green cult ahead of the Americans. He's chosen to put the terrorists ahead of the Texans. He's chosen to put the dictators ahead of the Dakotans. Yes, I keep saying that because I kind of like the alliteration there. But it's true. You got tyrants and terrorist regimes like Iran who are going to benefit by Joe Biden refusing to make America energy independent. Meanwhile, the Texans are going to suffer. That's just the reality. And it's not a good one. It is a situation where our president continues to undermine us. And meanwhile, he says he didn't get played by the Saudis. This is him with Jake Tapper last night on CNN.
Let's turn to Saudi Arabia. Some of your Democratic allies on Capitol Hill are afraid that the U.S. got played when you went to Saudi Arabia and fist bumped with the Crown Prince, because now, obviously, a few months later, Saudi-backed OPEC is slashing oil production in partnership with Russia. The chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Menendez, just called for a freeze on cooperation with Saudi Arabia, including most arms sales. Senator Durbin, the number 2 Democrat in the Senate, says the Saudis sided with Russia against the United States. Do you think it's time for the U.S. to rethink its relationship with Saudi Arabia?
Yes, and by the way, let's get straight why I went. I didn't go to one about oil. I went about making sure that we made sure that we weren't going to walk away from the Middle East and what was going on. And by the way, today I just got off the telephone with the president I got off the phone with the prime minister of Israel and the president of Lebanon. They've worked out a deal. They've been at war, declared war with one another for a long time. They've worked out a boundary relationship along in the Eastern Mediterranean for oil. Then they're going to make an agreement that is historic. We also got overflights for Israeli planes over Saudi Arabia. We got movement in terms of how we would deal in the Middle East with aggression from Iran. But it wasn't, there were eight other parties there. It wasn't about oil.
Okay, but
But we should, and I am in the process when this House and Senate gets back. They're going to have to. There's going to be some consequences for what they've done.
Right. Sure, there will be. Good luck with that. This interview last night, there's so much there for Republicans to seize upon. Biden and Tapper talking about the economy. Get a load of this from the President of the United States.
There's no guarantee that they're going to be. I don't think there will be a recession. If it is, it'll be a very slight recession. That is, we'll move down slightly. Look, think about what's happened. We have done more. We're in a better position than any other major country in the world, economically and politically. We still have real problems, but look what we got done. We passed so much legislation that significantly makes a point about, for example, the American Rescue Plan, the legislation to deal with inflation, the Inflation Act. We moved along. I mean, there's so much that's been accomplished that the idea that there's an automaticity to a recession is just not there. They've been predicting this off and on for the last.
But you just said that a slight recession is possible.
It is possible. Look, it's possible. I don't anticipate it.
So there's not going to be a recession. There's a chance of a slight recession, but there's not going to be a recession. But yeah, there might be a recession. The man is out to lunch, and then he decided to sell his Green New Deal. I mean, remember his Inflation Reduction Act, now widely acknowledged by everyone to just be a backdoor Green New Deal that did nothing with inflation.
You just said that a slight recession is possible.
It is possible. Look, it's possible. I don't anticipate it. But I do think, look, we talk about the impact on families. The families they have reason to be concerned about energy prices. They have reason to be concerned about a whole range of issues. But look what we've done. We've been able to, the Inflation Reduction Act. There's more. Look, I know I always quoted my dad, but my dad used to say, what is there any breathing room for a middle-class family? And the breathing room is after all the bills are paid at the end of the month, they have anything left. And there's more than one way to bring down the monthly cost for people who, in fact, are struggling, to make sure they have the ends meet and they have enough money. And that's what we've done with the Inflation Reduction Act. Look, we've reduced drug prices. We've allowed, for the first time, we've been trying for years to get Medicare to be able to negotiate drug prices. We pay the highest drug price of any nation in the world, any major nation. We're going to be in a situation where no senior is going to have to pay more than $2,000 a year for the drugs, no matter how much they cost. We've reduced the price. We're going to make sure that nobody has to pay more than $35 a month for insulin, et cetera. So there's so much that we've done. And the same on energy. We passed what I ran on, I said we're going to deal with energy.
Right.
And the energy problem, we're going to deal with the whole notion of global warming. We passed $368 billion worth of help, which, as the same bankers talk about, is going to bring $1.7 billion off the sidelines in investment. Look what's happened. Look at the investment that's going on in America right now.
Look at the investment that's going on. Businesses are preparing to lay people off. Businesses are taking money out of the market. Businesses are expecting a big recession. The Federal Reserve expects a big recession. The Bank of America expects a big recession and 150,000 jobs per month lost in the coming months. And the president is going on about bringing billions, trillions, $750 million, billion dollars off the sidelines and investment. What investment outside of government subsidy that drives up spending that provokes more inflation? This is not good. And you got Janet Yellen out there now saying the economy is going strong. Well, it is right now, except in a few sectors. We've had 2 quarters of negative growth. We've had 2 quarters of decline in the country economically. And they're trying to claim that everything is good, and they're trying to claim it in the run-up to the midterm elections. And only after the midterms, I think, are they going to be willing to acknowledge that things are not as sound as they led us to believe. And we will see, in fact, that the economy is beginning to decline, right as Joe Biden starts to decide whether he's going to run again for office. That's going to be the real and fundamental problem in the entire election cycle for 2024 for Joe Biden. It will remain the economy. Stupid. Now, Patriot Mobile is going to be involved in fighting for conservatives in this election environment and the next one. They take a portion of their profits and give it to the conservative movement, to the causes you care about, the First Amendment movement, the Second Amendment movement, the pro-life movement. They fund candidates down to the school board level. They've been fighting against the wokes on local school boards around the country. In 11 races, they beat all 11 of the wokes. What they do is they take a portion of their profits from you taking your business to them, and you can take your business to them by going to patriotmobile.com/Eric, patriotmobile.com/ERICK. And you can get free activation with my name. Now, you get guaranteed great service from Patriot Mobile because they use the same cell towers everybody else uses. So you can take your existing phone number to them or get a new phone number, take an unlocked phone or get a new phone. You can even call them at 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT is the phone number. Tell them I sent you. You get great discounts, too. If you're a veteran, a first responder, you're a teacher, and an NRA member, you need a lot of lines for a lot of kids with a lot of phones. Patriot Mobile might be able to save you some money. patriotmobile.com/Eric or 972-PATRIOT. Tell them I sent you. Get free activation. Hi there. It is Eric Erickson here. I got to laugh at this story with you if we can. This is from NBC News, and NBC has, and Alex Seiswald is a liberal reporter. Wasn't Alex Seiswald at some liberal, like at one of the Vox kids or something? I can't remember. Let's see here. I find it hilarious. Salon. He was at Salon for a while in PBS, and this is hilarious to me. Democrats are still struggling to make their campaigns look like their voters. While the party has made efforts to diversify its staff, major race and class disparities persist. Democrats pride themselves on the diversity of their voters, but the people who run their campaigns are still disproportionately white graduates of elite colleges, according to the new data. The key staff of the Democratic Party is more racially representative than it has ever been and not nearly as racially diverse as it ought to be, said Daniel Lorison, a sociologist at Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania, who spent years collecting data for his new book, Producing Politics Inside the Exclusive Campaign World, where the privileged few shape politics for all of us. Lorison, with the help of research assistants, combed through LinkedIn and other sources to compile a database of more than 4,500 Republican and Democrat operatives who worked on presidential primaries or general election campaigns from 2004 to 2020. They found that class and race disparities persist. Oh, my goodness gracious. So apparently there are too many white people running campaigns in America, and that's a bad thing. Really? Says this white reporter at NBC News. Really? The Democrats will eat their own over this sort of stuff. The danger and the problem of wokeism, in all honesty, is that you can never be woke enough. Once you give into it, there is no amount of wokeness that you can embrace without one day having the mob come for you. Just think about this. Just think about this. You at some point are going to be in a situation where you will have staked out an issue as a woke person. And in staking out the issue as a woke person, you will suddenly find the ground shifts and you are not woke enough, and they will come for you. They will come for you, and they will seek the forces of Mordor to cancel you because you haven't gotten woke enough. The only way to avoid it is to not play the game, and too many Democrats are too beholden to the progressive left to avoid playing the game. They've got to play the game to get ahead, and they're never going to be happy. They will always, in the fierce urgency of now search for a better tomorrow that is more purely woke. They will turn on each other. They will cancel each other, and it'll be glorious for the rest of us to watch. I got to think one of the reasons that so many Black and Hispanic voters are moving to the GOP is because you've got human resources departments of America, like certain signs you walk past in certain hallways and certain newsrooms that talk about Latinxes as opposed to Latino and Hispanic voters. They're tired of the woke.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.